Oh boy, this sure has been fun, eh? So, Sonic Colors Ultimate has come and gone, and it's been an experience to say the least. Now, when I made my previous video on this game, it came at a time when we knew very little about the game other than the fact that it had some issues. Issues that affected people in a very subjective manner, but they were issues nonetheless. I wasn't going to make another video on this topic, but wow, this entire ordeal has been fascinating to watch unfold. Now, as a bit of a reminder, I'm speaking from the point of view of an outsider. I don't consider myself a Sonic fan. I've played some of the games, even enjoyed some of the games, but the series has never really clicked with me to any significant degree. I'm not going to sit here and claim that Sonic has never been good, because that would be an incredibly egotistical thing to say. There's clearly something about the series that appeals to people that I just don't get. It wouldn't have its longevity or fans if there wasn't an appeal. Some might say this fact invalidates anything I have to say. To that I respond, well, I don't know what to tell you. Here's the thing. Personally, I think, while there's no such thing as true neutrality, I am a theoretically neutral party because I don't have any predisposed emotions or feelings in either direction. So the fact that I feel I have something to say about this really speaks to the effect of how much of a mess this whole situation has been. I have 2 working eyes and 2 working ears, and anybody with that should know exactly what's wrong with SCU. But before anybody accuses me of talking out of my ass, I have a working knowledge of pretty much everything that's gone on with Sonic Colors Ultimate because despite being an outsider, I have several friends and colleagues who are knee-deep in the Sonic franchise, so I've had the privilege of watching this whole thing unfold in real time through them, and it's been kinda depressing to watch. Originally, my discussion on this game was to do with toxic positivity, the malicious enforcement of positivity, and the active backlash against people wanting to give constructive criticism no matter how valid. And I'm still seeing a lot of that. In fact, I'd say it's only gotten worse. And just to recap, justifying problems only ensures that the problems will be worse next time. Because it only proves to publishers that you will take anything and like it. Nobody benefits from mandatory malicious enforcement of positivity in the face of genuine issues. The only way for things you like to get better is to be able to criticize them because the people making them need to know exactly what's wrong with their product. And if you don't want to criticize them, at least let other people do so. But how hopelessly lacking in imagination we all were in regards to how bad we thought Sonic Colors Ultimate could be. The game is worse than any of us could have possibly thought. I don't think I have the adequate amount of imagination to have correctly predicted the sheer relentless brokenness of Sonic Colors Ultimate. Nobody could have predicted it. Not even Doctor Strange. It seems they were very careful in showing very specific tidbits of gameplay and nothing else in the run-up to release because it's a mess. Through various parties, I've been able to see this game in action in every form, from the pre-release 1.0 version all the way to the current 1.4 patch, but no matter what version it is, it's all the same. And it's just shocking. Just glitch after glitch after glitch, to the point that you'd be mistaken for thinking this is an alpha build of a game coming out in a year or two, not a remaster of a game from 2010. That's the shocking thing. They essentially imported a finished, polished game from one engine to another, and in doing so, caused the game to break worse than Kung Lao's neck that one time, and didn't bother to fix anything before release. This would have been unacceptable for a brand new game made from the ground up, but this is a game that was already made that they absolutely butchered. And all for what? A couple additions that are vapid at best? A glorified dev race? A replacement for the live system? Cosmetics? All inserted with the care and grace of a punch to the jaw and the production value of a grapefruit. Yeah, that sure is worth it. It's said that a major culprit for the state of the game was engine compatibility, but that's no excuse. I have no idea how hard it is to work out engine compatibility, and I'm sure it's a major bitch to work out, but the fact that I don't know is exactly why I wasn't being paid to program the game. The way I see it, if you're being paid to do a job, you do the job. If you can't do the job, get someone else to do it. You don't leave a job half finished and release it as is, otherwise everyone looks stupid. This is a professionally made product, and no matter how hard it was to work out, releasing it in a half-finished state speaks ill of everyone involved. And the fact that you're trying to release a professionally made product, releasing it not up to saleable standards or professional standards, well, I'm sorry, there's just no excuse. Nobody's under any obligation to buy something if it's blatantly unfinished, and regardless of whatever excuse they want to pull, time, manpower, compatibility, whatever, the woe is me crap doesn't fly when you're trying to sell me something. There were times when my jaw was agape seeing what I was seeing. You literally couldn't go one level without seeing some sort of visual glitch, audio glitch, or some sort of gameplay glitch. Since the first time I saw this game in action, they've released the day 1 patch, version 1.3, which based on what I've seen fixes absolutely diddly shit, and now the 1.4 patch fixes one thing. I don't know why. More on that in a minute. The visual glitches are still the same, the audio glitches are still the same, the sound and music mixing is still awful, with only one toggle between the two by the way. The baffling gameplay glitches are still prominent, the game is so unstable that flat out crashing is not uncommon, and there have been multiple cases of save files being corrupted. While most of the game's issues can be boiled down to these categories, the amount of specific examples within these categories range into the dozens, if not hundreds, as far as unique occurrences go. You know, when you have 20-minute glitch compilations before the game is even out, you know you done f***ed up. And that's just talking about the main versions. If the main versions of Sonic Colors Ultimate are dumpster fires, the Switch version is a forest fire. Christ. And here's the thing, I don't know who's to blame in this case because I have heard multiple stories and I'm sure they're all true to some extent. Sega scapegoating Blind Squirrel, mismanagement within Blind Squirrel, mismanagement from the higher-ups at Sega, a complete misunderstanding of the workload needed, a complete misunderstanding of engine compatibility and how long it takes to sort out, etc, etc, etc. I don't care who's to blame though, because at the end of the day, the end result is all that matters, and the end result is an absolute dumpster fire of a game that continues to burn as we speak. I'm sure at a fundamental level, if you enjoy these games, you can play Sonic Colors Ultimate and enjoy the raw experience, but you have to be very forgiving to look past everything in this game in order to get to the raw experience. And the sad thing is, the well of discussion has been thoroughly poisoned at this point because people on both sides of the fence have made things extremely hard for the people just trying to have a discussion. First of all, you have the possibility of certain glitches having been faked by some people, a major dick move by the way. And then you have the people on the other side of the fence using the fact that some of these glitches might have been faked as a means to shift the goalposts constantly. Or there are the people who make it an us versus them thing, where the topic of whether or not the game is a butchered remaster is boiled down to certain camps within the fan base allegedly trying to sabotage the game to make the game look bad or something. I don't get the whole infighting thing, but it's a thing. And it sucks that a genuine conversation can't or should even have to take place when at the end of the day, this whole thing should be fun. But all I'm seeing is anger, vitriol, and social civil wars. Once again, I generally stand on the critical side of the fence, not just because of who my friends are, but because I saw the game with my own eyes and can verify that at least 99% of the glitches are genuine. And this game is indeed, by my standards, a mess. To my knowledge, the only glitch that was confirmed to be fake was the T-posing glitch. The fact that we're even having to discuss which glitches are real and which are fake is kind of an issue to begin with. Kinda like how it was an issue that there was an ongoing debate as to whether or not the visuals in the remaster looked better or worse than the original. There shouldn't have to be a debate at all. And the discussion about how many glitches are real and how many are fake shouldn't even exist because in a perfect world, 20-minute glitch compilations shouldn't exist without being blatantly fake. Were there any discussions about any glitches, real or fake, with Mario Odyssey? Were there enough glitches in Breath of the Wild that discussions needed to be held about the possibility that some people manipulated the game to make fake ones? Could a 20-minute glitch compilation of Rift Apart exist at all? And if it did, would there be a single person not questioning the legitimacy of it? The fact that there are so many glitches that fake ones can exist and pass as real is a big problem because that just speaks to the abhorrent quality of the product that it's not immediately obviously fake. But that doesn't matter because to some people the goalposts will continue to shift until the end of time. Oh, also by the way, if you played this game and claim that you didn't run into any glitches, please walk into the sea because your pants are on fire. Either way, the game remains unfixed at time of writing with no signs of major fixes coming anytime soon. I can't even think of how long it would take for them to polish the game in its current state, given the fact that Blind Squirrel isn't even a big studio. But even then, if they patch every single glitch and this game is perfectly functional, which at the rate they're going should be around the heat death of the universe, this game will forever be a joke to most of the game-playing public. The damage has already been done because at the point of the highest media exposure, the game was a joke. So that's the perception that will follow the game for the rest of time. It's not an own to the people who rightfully criticize the game that the glitches might eventually be patched out. It shouldn't have gotten this bad to begin with. And we sure as hell shouldn't be grateful that they might patch the game. At this point, patching it is the least they can do. And let's be honest, they're not patching the game out of the goodness of their hearts. They're patching it because the game was trending on Twitter for 2 days over how broken it was. As far as I'm concerned though, you can make every excuse in the book, and at the end of the day, this game is still 100% unacceptable. And if it were any other franchise, nobody would be justifying it. Remember Assassin's Creed Unity? Remember when that game was released in a completely unfinished state? That game was raked over the coals and Ubisoft's stock price dropped. Or how about Aliens Colonial Marines, that game that was abhorrently finished, so much so that lawsuits were filed? But this is okay to some people? However, then there was something that came up that is so awful, so unjustifiable, that it basically is the single biggest reason I felt the need to cover this game again. That being, of course, the seizure glitch, or glitches as the case may be. Viewer beware, there may be rapidly flashing lights on screen at any point from this timecode to this timecode. So yes, the glitch colloquially known as the seizure glitch, that one glitch with the flashing colors and lights, the glitch that was so severe that it could have genuinely given someone an epileptic seizure. You'd think that that would be the one thing we can all agree on, right? Nope. There were still people defending it with all the classic deflections, and you know, that really irked me. Here are a few, and here are a few more. Fiddle-dee-dee. It makes me wonder what would qualify as an unacceptable glitch to some people. Now, I need to specify for the record that this glitch is the one glitch so far they've gone out of their way to patch out. You may say, oh, well that makes it okay then, and I will say, no it doesn't. Because no game should ever ship with a glitch so severe that it could actually harm people, and nobody should ever be okay with one existing. Period. More to the point, it shouldn't take more than a week to patch out once it's been brought to light. Just because it's not there anymore doesn't mean anything. It shouldn't have been there in the first place. I don't give a damn how rare it was or what you had to do to trigger it yourself. The fact is, it was a glitch in a game that could cause actual factual harm to somebody. Just stop and consider that fact. That is inexcusable no matter what. That is objectively a massive problem that should have warranted Sega recalling the game and pulling it off of digital storefronts until it was fixed. Why? Because aside from being dangerous, it could have landed Sega in a whole heap of legal issues, and still could as a matter of fact. There's precedent for this. Remember the notoriously glitchy Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, which in my experiences doesn't have 1/10 the amount of glitches as Ultimate, but I digress. In 2007, there was a lawsuit that was filed because a child suffered an epileptic seizure as a result of that game, which left the kid permanently disabled. Do you want that to happen again? If even one person was harmed as a result of Ultimate, that would be too much. And even if there's just a 1% chance of it happening, again, that would be too much. I understand that with games, there's a chance of this happening regardless of the game's contents, which is why they usually have warnings at the beginning of the game, but this was an actual glitch that could expedite the issue and made the possibility a lot higher. There's absolutely no reason a video game should ever cause anyone real harm, and if you were okay with it or in any way justified it, I cannot adequately express my contempt in words. It all comes back to that point about the game being woefully unfinished and not up to saleable standards. There have been games in the past that have been crucified for having less than half the issues that this game has, but Sonic Colors Ultimate? I don't know, maybe it was the drought, maybe it's Maybelline. On the plus side, it seems more and more common that people are starting to put their foot down and say that this is unacceptable. And you know, it kind of makes me sad to think about it because through all of this, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Sonic fans, you deserve better than this. And if you're not demanding better from Sega and whoever else, you should. Consider this, guys. This is your anniversary. This is the big celebration of the franchise. A botched, half-assed remaster that manages to butcher a game that by and large is considered one of the good ones. To the point that it's seemingly as glitchy and broken as any number of famous examples in the series. A game that has served only to further divide the fan base when something like this should do nothing but unite the fan base. Just stop and consider that for a second. This is what you guys got. Happy 30th. Once you fully internalize that, I want you to consider for a moment what other franchises have been getting recently. Crash Bandicoot was essentially the de facto replacement for Mario as Mario's main rival back in the 90s, but only made a comeback in recent years. What has Crash gotten? Crash Bandicoot 4. Regardless of what you think of the game, it is without a shadow of a doubt a massive, full-fledged AAA product sold at full price that was polished and finished at launch. Activision, for better or worse, put a lot of faith and resources into that game. They gave Crash a full AAA big budget experience. And how about something like Ratchet & Clank? Now, of course, everybody knows that I was a vocal critic of Rift Apart before it was out because I'd seen some things I didn't like and was reading the writing on the wall as far as the recent history of Ratchet & Clank. But for all intents and purposes, it's about as good as modern Ratchet & Clank can get and can serve as a positive example of a great many things. The fact is, the series has been around since 2002, and while it had some weaker entries, and some really weak entries, Sony still sees it as a big deal and have enough faith in it to carry the PlayStation banner. So when the time came for the PS5 to be released, they as well as Insomniac Games gave Rift Apart the full AAA experience. They put tons of time, money, and production value into it. They made a full-fledged, big-budget AAA experience sold at full price that was polished and finished at launch. And what do you know, it worked out. Honestly, the way I see it, Rift Apart did the opposite of what Colors Ultimate did. It reunited the fanbase after Ratchet 2016 split it. Even Sackboy got his own big budget game. And while I can only speak for myself, I haven't thought of Little Big Planet since like 2012. And this is a first-party PlayStation IP. Sony is awful at maintaining its aging intellectual property, and yet Sackboy has better, higher production representation in recent years than Sonic, a character who once had the potential to usurp Mario as the most recognizable video game character. This is what you have. These are the types of games you could have. Honestly, when's the last time we could even describe Sonic as big budget? When's the last time you could tell that Sega had faith in the franchise to carry the Sega banner? Near as I can tell, 2006, maybe 2008, they were still willing to put time, money, and production value into the series and have the faith to sell games for full price, but it was never the same after that. And that's not a comment on the recent quality of the games. I've heard some games between 2008 and now have been good to great, but over time, the production values and faith degraded to the point that they ended up allowing there to be a several-year gap between games, and the resulting game at the end of it was Sonic Colors Ultimate. So really, fans of the series should see this as outrageous, because, yeah, games are still being made, but now they're so few and far between and never seem to go off without a hitch. It seemingly gets worse with each and every single entry. I really don't see how a 4-year gap followed by a half-assed, half-priced, botched remaster could be seen as a good thing to anyone, to any degree, and how that could be seen as anything but an indictment of the franchise in its current state. I've been given crap in the past for saying that Sonic isn't as relevant to the gaming landscape as he once was. I really don't see why, because I thought that would be obvious. At his peak, Sonic the Hedgehog was the #2 biggest mascot in all of gaming, arguably #1, but now, outside of the hardcore fanbase, how many people really care about the franchise? Granted, it has a decently sizable hardcore fanbase, but when's the last time the series was relevant to a mainstream audience? I know exactly one person IRL who's a fan of the series, and even he admits that the series has lost most of its relevance. Once again, games are still being made, but here's a little bit of back alley wisdom. Merely existing is not the same as mattering. Mario and God of War are two completely different franchises from two completely different companies. Both still sell gangbusters. Can you honestly say that Sonic is even 1/10 as relevant as either of those franchises? I'm saying this because it shouldn't have to be like this, and that all comes down to the decade plus of mismanagement. At least that's the way I see it. I'm not here to slag the series off, I'm just here to say that the state of the franchise is woeful and the fans deserve better and should be demanding better. Is it a coincidence that the exact same day that Sonic Colors Ultimate was released in North America, Chaos X released a new update for his one-man remake of Sonic 06, Project 06, or P06 if you will? Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. Well, either way, the day it came out, a couple of my friends were in a Discord call playing the game. They literally warned me when I came into the call that this probably won't be the most interesting conversation because they were just enjoying the game. I decided to stick around, and would you believe, I watched grown men be nearly brought to tears over Sonic the Hedgehog. It was kind of beautiful, honestly. And I mean that genuinely. It's a testament to how much passion people can and seemingly should have for the series, but it seems that Sega has been determined for years to slowly and painstakingly beat the passion out of their own fan base with disappointment after disappointment, so that the audience is now split between tepid fans who have absolutely no desire to give Sega the benefit of the doubt anymore, and hardcore fans who will eat the Elmer's glue you give them, and no matter what, they'll thank you for the ice cream. But the sad thing is, I saw firsthand the type of passion people can have for the series, a level of passion that's really hard to come by. And that's the type of thing that makes me wonder what I'm missing out on. But seeing the absolute dumpster fire that was Sonic Colors Ultimate, that's the type of thing that makes me want to stay as far away from the series as humanly possible. And once again, for the people in the back, Sonic fans, you deserve better than this. Better games, better production value, and a publisher that gives a damn. And frankly, there's a glimmer of hope. I've mostly been referring to the games, obviously because that's the main output of the series, but the success of the Sonic movie proves on a mainstream level that there's still a good amount of people who want to see the series succeed, who still care when there's energy and time put in. For a brief moment, the movie made the series more relevant than it had been in years. The series still has the potential to regain at least some of the success it had. Sega just needs to find a way to channel that level of success into their own output. And that all starts with putting in the effort. Anyways, that's all I got. If I ever talk about the series again, it probably won't be for a while. Not until I have something I feel I can add. But either way, if you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe and don't forget to like this video and leave a comment. I've been the King of Snark Style, or the Monarch of Snark if you prefer, on Tactical Bacon Productions. Until next time, peace.